Drew, not here in the right. You, the 2015 game against Clemson, obviously it was a monsoon. You won't have that in Dallas in the Dome. But how much is that game motivation for you guys? How close it was and that type of a game you played against Clemson? Is that motivating you guys, you think, for this next couple weeks?
I mean, anytime you lose to a team and get a chance to avenge that loss, obviously I think it adds a little bit to it. I'm not sure too many guys actually played in that game. I know I didn't play in that game due to injury. But, yeah, we're hungry to get after them and get on with our preparation.
For both you guys, how was this past week for you guys, not having a game to prepare and just kind of hoping that your resume spoke for itself?
It was nice. I mean, just relaxing, handling some schoolwork. Finals are coming up, and wasn't too stressed about us being in. I thought we deserved to be in, and you just got to be confident in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think our resume speaks for itself. We play teams from across all different conferences, and we won every game, and I think that's important in college football. It's tough to win games on any given Saturday. We came out and did that this year, and I'm very proud of our guys. Got some rest this week. Guys were able to spend time together outside of football activity, which I think is important for team development as well. So we really enjoyed it.
And then for both of you guys as well, how much will this preparation of you get 4 weeks here, how much will this mirror that preparation you guys had for the first game against Michigan, a big opponent, tons of time to kind of get ready? How much do you think those two build-ups and preps will mirror each other?
Coach Kelly kind of laid it out for us right after we found out where we are, and it's going to be similar in some ways. Obviously, we got to really grind on the fundamentals in the initial parts of practice. But then, we're just going to get after it and just really build that hunger to play in Dallas and against Clemson. And, all of our mindsets are shaping right now. We're ready to attack. We're ready to go. And it's just working on our game until that.
Julian, you talked about working on your game there. How much better can the defense get over this practice period? It almost seems like it's a spring practice in terms of how many practices you get.
Right. I think our defense could get better in a lot of ways. I think the main component to that is rest and recovery. I think we've been grinding all season. And a lot of guys have been playing a lot of snaps. I know, Drew, Tavon, for the linebackers have played the most snaps on our defense. And that takes a toll on the body. And so allowing this week and in the weeks going forward allows a little bit more rest. But then we're ready to go and really grind on the fundamentals of tackling, develop our game plan, and really be able to execute it to the best of our abilities. And not just execute it, but know it. Not the players knowing the game plan and why we're doing certain things, I think is huge. And Coach Lee stresses that, and he relays that message very well. And that's what this whole month, basically, before the game will be.
Drew, I see, you don't have the cast on your hand. Are you done playing and even practicing with the cast? And then also, is there a chance that by the time you play in your next game, your ankle's going to be 100%?
Yeah, I don't really know regarding the ankle. I mean, it's kind of just day to day. After playing on it for a few weeks, there's going to be some soreness and tightness, and we're going to have to work on the mobility piece of it. So I have no answer on that, but my hand's good to go, fully healed and cleared by the doctor.
Does it almost feel weird to be able to have all the mobility and so forth with that? I know you did a really good job of getting used to it, but now that you have, does it change things for you at all?
I mean, I haven't really been able to play without it, so I guess we'll see. And obviously, this first game in the playoffs and practices, see how it feels to actually have my hand back and be able to, shock and escape, and use my other hand for block destruction. It'll be nice to have for sure.
And Drew, I know that you part of the reason you come back is because you want an opportunity like this, but when did you really feel like this was realistic? Did you think that in the offseason this was this kind of team, or was it into the season where you said, okay, wait a second, we may be a playoff team?
Well, I made the decision to come back knowing we had the pieces. It was just a matter of execution. In 16, we failed to execute in the fourth quarter and lost a lot of close games. And, in college football, it really just comes down to technique and fundamentals and executing the game plan. At Notre Dame, you're always going to have talented athletes like this guy. And so it's just a matter of guys going out there on defense, 11 is 1, and executing. And when you do so, you have a pretty good chance to win some ball games.
How does it feel to just be one of the last 4 teams competing for the national championship?
Man, I mean, it's pretty fun. It's a great time, to be with the guys we're with, and to be going through this with anyone. I mean, it's just a special moment. And seeing number 3 up there earlier today was, it was awesome. And we know that was one of our goals in the beginning of the season, and now just check that off the list. And now going forward, got a few more boxes to check. But it's a fun time in South Bend.
What about for both of you, playing in a stadium like AT&T Stadium, one of the biggest stadiums in the country? What's that going to be like, a moment like that?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be cool. I feel like we've played in a lot of big stadiums, and I think if you focus too much on the atmosphere, on the arena in which you're playing, you'll kind of lose focus of the game. But obviously, this is why you come to Notre Dame. You come to play in the playoffs. Like, this is all we have to play for. We don't have to play for conference championships. We play for national championships. And so to be in a position, on the big stage with everybody watching, it obviously adds a little flavor to that. But we're kind of used to that here at Notre Dame. Our fan base is great, and they follow us no matter what game we're playing in. And so for us, it's just going to be about getting down to the X's and O's and getting after them.
And then, Julian, I'm seeing you wearing the Wish Fest shirt. Were you there yesterday? And, what was that? Just, you're not focusing on the other games, you're focusing on your teammates and your bond with your teammates.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I was at Wish Fest. A lot of guys were. And I live with Nick Wisher, and so it's just me supporting my friend. And it was great to be going through that with them, and that's what it's about. I mean, it's the bond that we make in here that makes it special. And, don't worry, we were watching the games. They had some games on TVs there, and so everybody was kind of huddled around different games. But we were, enjoying the experience and supporting Nick.
Julian, over here. What was it like for this whole campaign around you for the Jim Thorpe Award? Did you embrace that, or was it kind of uncomfortable at first to get used to everyone pulling for you like that?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of was uncomfortable for me at first to really openly kind of campaign for, votes for this, the fan vote aspect. It was definitely weird, and it was, my mom calling me, and my girlfriend telling me, like why not go all out? Why, you're in it for a reason. Why not do all that you can? Text everybody that you can, see if people can spread the word. And that's kind of day 2. I kind of switched my mindset around to being like, yeah, it's cool, like whatever. To like, all right, let's get after it. So I was trying to be interactive with as many fans as I can. Everyone was sending it out. I think between my godmother, my mom, sister, and girlfriend, they probably alone had like 20,000 votes. There's constantly refreshing, trying to vote, which is special. I mean, a lot of loved ones, and to see that nearly 100,000 people voted, I mean, it's amazing. That's crazy, the reach that got, and it was pretty cool.
Drew, just your general impressions of you watched Clemson last night. Just your general impressions of their offense.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a talented quarterback, obviously, who can get the ball out, and talented skill. I think their running back went 80 yards to the house the first play of the game. So obviously explosive, dynamic. A lot of RPO game. Gonna have to be disciplined. Gonna have to be on our assignments. So great challenge, but we're looking forward to it.
What are your thoughts when? I mean, obviously their quarterback's a very talented kid, but he is a freshman. What are your thoughts when you go against a younger quarterback compared to somebody that's a real veteran?
We always talk about just making them line up and snap it as many times as possible. The freshman's got problems too. He's got girlfriend problems. He's got school problems, and it just takes one snap of him thinking about that to throw us one or make a mental error. And so we just talk about if an offense is going to get going on us, we don't want to give up explosive plays, and guys like Julian make that possible for us. And I think you've seen multiple times this year in offense, we've kind of taken on water, but they'll get down and end up missing a field goal or something, and we'll get our offense back on the field. And so we always just talk about, making him snap it as many times as possible to get in the end zone.
And Jillian, you said you watched the game. I mean, can you, and I asked Muster for this too, can you watch a game like a fan, or are you're, I know the TV version doesn't give you the clearest view maybe of the routes and stuff, but you're looking at it differently than the rest of the world?
I'm going to be honest. I was mainly watching the Northwestern Ohio State game. Wasn't really paying attention to too much of the Clemson Pitt game. Just purely, being a fan of the game and, having friends on the Northwestern team, being from Chicago. And so, TV copies, you don't really get the full picture. Also what the commentators say, you try to get, it gets in your mind too. But, obviously going forward now that we know what's ahead of us, a lot of film prep will be made next few days.
Have you seen Trevor Lawrence play?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of their games this year throughout. Sometimes they might play before us, a couple hours before us. And so, me and Troy probably like to watch them play. Troy's a South Carolina guy, and so that's kind of his bread and butter.
And kind of along the lines of what I asked Drew, I mean, in terms of is your mindset any different when you're going against a young quarterback as opposed to a veteran quarterback?
Yeah, that's part of it for sure. Knowing who the quarterback is, and you will see a lot of attention being aimed at the quarterback. For me, I like to look at personnel in all aspects of it, what the line's doing, how the receivers play, what they like, what they don't like, and then kind of for me, I then will look at the tendencies of the quarterback. And so I think Trevor Lawrence, he's done a great job for them this whole year. And he has things that he does well, maybe some things that he doesn't do well. But I like to look at offenses as a whole rather than, aiming at the quarterback. He is young, but he's shown this year that he is very talented.
Thanks, guys.
Drew, I just wanted to know, when did you have the cast removed?
Jeez. I mean, I've had the cast off for probably 3 or 4 weeks, but I've had to practice and play in it. So,
Okay.
I mean, I had the cast on against USC for playing, but I've kind of been cleared.
When you got back from USC, was there a morning that you decided, I think I'll just skip rehab today, or have you stayed with it since you've been back?
I had to skip it one morning because I pushed my entire end of the semester project in one of my classes off so that I could be in the rehab room. So I had to spend about 48 hours to knock out that. But then I was right back on the trail, man.
Now, when are you headed for New York?
I leave tomorrow morning.
Okay. Julian, talk a little bit about what you guys have seen him accomplish this year, just to play in games and what he's done.
Ooh. Drew, is as tough as they get, and that goes to show. I think he got hurt. We were preparing for Northwestern, and Drew, kind of was getting reps, but we were still trying to figure out if he was 100%. And I don't know what it was, like second, maybe third quarter. I'm lining up, getting a call, and I look over at who's I'm relaying the call to, and it's Drew. The whole game it was Jordan, Jen Markeith, and no one informed me. I think Drew just actually ran on the field. I don't know if he told anybody. And I see Drew, and I froze. I was like, should I call this? Should I call this? But Drew made the call, and I was like, all right, I'm with it. And we're going to go to battle. And that's just kind of the mindset that Drew has and how he's kind of shaped the mindset of this team, that we're in it together. He's not out there for himself, but for the betterment of this team. That's why he came back for his 5th year, because he realized how special this was as a unit. No individual is better than the next, and Drew epitomizes that.
Obviously, you guys have earned tremendous respect getting to the college football playoff, yet whenever there is discussion of Notre Dame, it always seems, well, Georgia, we'd favor them on a neutral field. We'd favor Oklahoma. We'd favor Ohio State. I think you're 11.5-point underdogs against Clemson. Does that in any way, affect you the way people think it does, or do you just kind of let it slide?
I mean, I don't really care about what the spread is or anything like that. I know what this team's capable of. to be honest with you. And people can compare us to the teams who didn't get in all they want. We were in, now we're number 3, and we're going to show the world what we're about.
Do you guys ever feel slighted in a way?
I mean, not really. All that matters is people in this room, and that's what Coach Kelly has stressed since day one. And that's what I've been focused on, what we've been focused on, is the opinions of our brothers, the guys next to us, guys who are actually on the field, and that's all that matters. So I don't feel slighted by it, or we'll feel slighted by it in any means, by any means. But we're just happy to be in this moment.